Thank you for that, Shaheen. Okay, I'm now going to call the meeting into order. It is Wednesday, November 10th, 2021. It is now 6:06 p.m. This is our regular monthly meeting. I am going to do a roll call of board members. Ravonda Smith, myself, the chairperson, is here. Claire Cousin.
Here.
Rebecca Wolf.
Here.
Marie Bell. I think we lost Marie, but I'll come back around.
No, sorry, I was on mute here.
Oh,
Sorry.
no worries. No worries. Rebecca Board.
Here.
Robert Davis.
Here.
And as we know, we got an update from Rebecca Board that Anthony won't be able to be here, and I do wish him the best. Going straight into the order of business, I would like to welcome our new co-interim executive directors, Aisha Davey and Nick Sackos. So excited. I can't stop grinning when I say those names. Do we have Aisha on with us? Did I miss her in the?
I don't think she's on. I can see my whole screen and I don't see Aisha.
I'm texting right now.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll roll right into it. We're gonna go right into our annual meeting, which is the election of officers. Now, Nick, I did want to talk to you about this because it's usually a little different. It's in person when it comes to voting. Because usually it's like tallied. But I guess like technically you would just be tallying on your end, doing the same thing instead of in person, correct?
Could we do it via chat, Vonda, where all the board members send a direct message to Nick, or no?
Oh, absolutely. I'm all for however anybody would like to do that. I'm comfortable with that as well.
Is everybody on
okay
the board comfortable with that? I'm fine with that as long as everybody knows how to do that. Maybe it was just worth explaining quickly what folks would do. That would just be that would not be in the open chat, right, Claire? That would be
No, you would click where
personal
it
chat
says,
to me.
yeah, it says everyone, and you click the drop down box, and then you click Nick's name specifically.
Right, I just got it. I've got it. Marie just did a test and I got it. So that works.
I just have a question. Is the process still we nominate and then instead of voting, are we saying instead of voting just out into Zoom right now, we would just be voting privately into a chat to the ED?
Yes. And then he would be announcing, and then we'd be like what the votes are, and then we would still be, I mean, Marie, I believe nominations always go up, but like
So-
Nick would be letting know
So-
who the winner of what is.
So Nick would go through the various posts and say, do we have a nomination for? And then somebody on the board would nominate, and then you would get a second. If there are two nominations, then obviously we would have to take a vote. If there is only one, then I don't know that we even would have to vote, but we could. Maybe we should. And then I think we move on to the next. I believe that we do it in succession, I think, if I recall.
Linda's nodding her head, which is a good sign.
Yes.
All right, so let's do it. I mean, so Nick, you would do this section. And I believe you would say, is there any nominations for the chairperson?
Great, so let's start with that. Do we have any nominations that anyone would like to make for a chairperson of the Hudson Housing Authority Board?
Ravonda Smith for chairperson of the Hudson Housing Authority.
Do we have a second?
Yes.
Okay,
Back to Wolf.
Marie seconds. So then would all board members direct chat?
You would say, is there another nomination?
Oh, we do that? Okay, got you. Is there another nomination for the chairperson of the HHA board? Just want to make sure we have some people who are not on video, that if they do have somebody could either speak up or could raise their hand. But if I do not hear anyone else with another nomination, then we will move ahead with a vote on Ravonda Smith as the chairperson. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 votes of, how many board members do we have? 1, 2.
Oh, wait, I didn't know we were at that time, sorry.
Yes, we are voting. So if we have 6 votes in as ayes for that candidate, I think we're missing 1 board member who hasn't voted.
Which would be Anthony,
I
right?
think there's 1 more.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, because I'm not counting myself. You're absolutely correct.
Does that constitute a clear majority and we can go ahead? 6 ayes for that nomination?
Absolutely.
So I think ayes have it, and Ravonda Smith will continue as the chairperson for the Hudson Housing Authority.
Yay.
I feel honored.
Excellent.
Wonderful. Let's move on to vice chair. Oh, wait, are you clapping, Tom, or do you have your hand up? Okay, good. We have the vice chairperson position. Do we have a nomination for vice chairperson?
I nominate Claire Cousin.
A second.
We have a nomination. Just trying to jot this all down. Belinda, you're taking notes too, correct?
Yep.
Yes, she is.
I'll just keep track for my own records. Do we have any other nominations? Give it a few seconds just to make sure. If there are no other nominations, then we will move with a vote on Claire Cousins as the vice chairperson of the Hudson Housing Authority. If people could, instead of saying aye or nay, actually write in who they're voting for, that would be great, just to make it clear in the chat. That would be great.
For accessibility purposes, Robert's on his phone. Is he texting a vote in maybe?
Robert, are you capable of texting me personally your vote? Can you do that while you're on Zoom?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have your number, Nick. I gotta find your number.
Let me text you real quick.
right? Let me look at my email to find your number. Marie. Marie,
Yes,
can you send me okay, got it.
Got it?
Got it. I just sent you a text, Nick.
I got it, Robert. Thank you. Okay, the ayes have it, and Claire Cousin will be will continue as the vice chair for the Hudson Housing Authority. Thank you, everyone. So we will move right along to the post of treasurer. We have a nomination for the treasurer.
I nominate Rebecca Boer.
A second.
I nominate, wait,
Okay,
we didn't
can I
discuss-
may I just say, you can decline a nomination. So I want to make it clear that you have to run if you don't want to.
What, Rebecca Wolf, what would you like to say?
I would like to nominate Marie Ball.
Okay, so we have two oh, did anybody want to second Rebecca Wolf's nomination?
I'll second Rebecca Wolf's nomination.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations?
Good job. So happy for you guys. Exciting.
Sorry.
Any other nominations?
Can I ask a question, even though we're in the middle of this? Our current treasurer is Rebecca Wolf. Our current treasurer is Marie.
Right.
On our meeting documents, it said Rebecca Wolf today, so I got a little.
Oh,
For some
Okay.
reason, like nobody's, I've tried to correct that like
I know.
so many times.
Right. We made that decision some time ago. It was actually in between annual elections, I believe. Yeah, Linda
We
remembers.
even voted on it and everything.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. That was it was months and months ago. So I would just be continuing as is.
Doing the agenda, I'll take care of that, Rebecca.
Okay.
All right, so is the way that we will do this, given the circumstances, that folks will just direct message me their vote for either candidate, or do we have to do an up or down for each one individually?
I guess you just vote for your favorite candidate.
Yes, okay, this is not again, so that's what we'll do. So we are, if it is okay, if folks can text the name of the person who was nominated, either Rebecca Boer or Marie. I'll tally the votes once they all come in. Okay, I think the votes are unanimous for Marie to continue as the treasurer of the Hudson Housing Authority.
Congratulations, Marie.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Marie.
And I think that pretty much wraps elections up.
Thank you,
Correct?
everyone.
Thank you. We'll get right on to new business, which Linda, I have a question for you, because our last meeting was the special meeting that we had October 26th, where we voted the new co-interims in. And was it due to that meeting just being on that? Like there really wasn't much of meetings, because I know I went through and I didn't see meeting minutes for that meeting. And I'm guessing it's because it was just a real quick
I sent them out. I sent them together.
You sent them together? Okay.
It's only 2 paragraphs.
Marie, do you have that to share with me maybe? Because the last ones I have is the October monthly meeting. I don't have the special meeting one for October 26th.
I also,
I'm sorry, say that again, Rebecca.
no, I just checked through my email. I also don't have that special meeting minutes.
Yeah, and I just figured maybe it was because it was so short, like we were just voting in interim, so there isn't like much to really write on, you know? So normally that's what we would be doing, is what I said, but due to our last meeting being a special meeting and it was just voting the interims in, that's why we really don't have meetings that we'd be voting on, was my thoughts, but Linda did say she had some. So we can always table that if Linda does have some. And then moving on right along to the approved accounts payable for September and October. Was everybody able to look those over? And if not, feel free to table them, but I was able to look through.
Does anybody want to see them on screen?
Yes, please.
I can share my screen.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry, give me 1 second. All right, here we go. Okay. Can everyone see that?
I can't speak for everyone, but it looks good to me. I don't know if is everyone okay with that?
I just have a quick question. I don't want to put Nick on the spot, but Nick, I mean, at this stage, have you and Aisha had a chance to sort of get familiarized with these budgets? I mean, I know you've been there a week. Have you? Not even. So just curious.
We've only been able to kind of take a cursory look at them and start to understand the basics. We did have a lengthy and very informative phone conversation yesterday with Teresa,
Charlie Leroy.
our fee accountant. And not only does she obviously understand the finances backwards and forwards, but also has been involved, as you all know, through the RAD conversion. And she was a very good teacher also. So she was really able to walk us through a lot of what we were trying to understand, and was great about that. And she's going to be a continuing resource for us to be able to understand everything. But that was the first conversation I had where I really started to get a grasp on the basics. But I have a lot more to learn. I got very familiar over the past few years with the city budgeting and accounting systems, and this is similar, but in a lot of ways very different. So it's going to be a new process to learn, but it all seems doable.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a very good question, Marie, because obviously I know on the next part is about the operating budget, and we're going to get to that, so where they're still learning that as well.
Just one thing I'll follow up with that question, Marie, is we're still we're not in the system yet as signers, as some of the board members are, and I think we're hoping to do that later this week, to go over to the Bank of Greene County and get it on that. But part of my intent was that I didn't want to be asked to sign anything yet until I had a good grasp, and so we will be doing that later this week, both getting on that account, and then we will be able to. And I really want to be able to understand everything that I'm signing for before I put that signature on anything. So that will hopefully be by Friday.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone want to see another part of the document? Go back to anything? We scrolled through. We good? Great.
I haven't looked yet. Are all the financials included with the minutes on the website for once a meeting goes up on the website? Those are included in there?
Sorry, what?
Yeah, I mean, the answer, as far as the past is concerned, the minutes, yeah, though we haven't been as diligent as we should have been, but I don't know if we put the financials up, do we? I don't think we've ever put all of this detail up there. And I think there was a question mark about that once. They're available in the office for anybody to see, but there's, like names and amounts attached to employees and things like that. So there might be some privacy issues about putting all the financials up, but that's something to discuss, I think, later. But
Rebecca, can you scroll back up?
Yeah. Back up.
No, right there.
I'm curious. Wait, sorry, because I have one of the speakers in the sound. I just have really bad sound right now. But are you saying specifically for this quick report that there are names in it, that this is an issue? Is that what you were saying?
no, not for the quick report.
Okay, cool.
This is, I mean, it's a pretty, I mean, that's what I'm saying. There might be sections that you would put up, just avoiding. I know that there were questions about putting some of these more detailed check and checks and things like that, like the whole financial package.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because I know we put this up a bunch of times.
Ah, okay.
Two questions. I see, is this a reimbursement for something? It says conference P. Where did it go? 6962. Towards the bottom.
Did you say 6962?
Yeah.
This,
Yes,
Yep.
that is a reimbursement. Yep.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
the other question that I had was, we're still paying resident services?
Which one?
this line item?
Well, I am a little surprised because I don't know who signed the check, but yes, it seems that we are. I think
There
this
was-
is something that we do need to discuss.
If I can just say that, I'd rather not discuss it now. I would rather discuss it when we have council,
Okay.
if everybody's
I
okay with
agree. I agree.
So aside from that, is everyone good? I'm gonna stop sharing. Good. Okay.
All right, well, that is our accounts payable for October. Does anybody have any questions? We are more than welcome at any given time if anybody isn't comfortable, even yourself, Nick, and even Aisha. I know she's not here, but we can also table it for you guys. Like, please let us know. I'm pretty comfortable to move forward.
I just want to say one thing, like, especially to our interim ED. I did ask, like, we asked in the past for like more itemization in all of the maintenance supplies and everything that's being bought and purchased, just so we like have a good idea of the work that's being done and can like present that work also to the public. So I just wanted you to have that on your radar as well.
And can I actually?
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Marie.
No, I was just going to add to Rebecca's comment because I think where the RAD, where RAD compliance is concerned, there's been a question mark about how much of the work that we have done since we signed that RAD almost, I guess now 2 years ago almost. And surprisingly, a lot probably has actually been done within in the time, or more than you would expect given the budget. So I think that it's true. There's work that's been done for RAD conversion that hasn't really been adequately, I think, measured because we haven't done a good enough job of itemizing all that money that we've been spending on those items. It's just something to keep in mind.
So, I think that to speak to both of your questions or points, I think that from what I've seen so far, there's a paper system of purchase orders that are put into both for maintenance and janitorial supplies. And that is a system that does not have currently as much accountability as I would like to see in it. And so we may be transferring pretty quickly to a new system that can have a better record keeping component to it so that we can accurately track both purchases and inventories of material. But that is going to take a little work to get that. But that's definitely something that I think Aisha and I both flagged pretty quickly as a need.
That's great. Thank you.
All right, so we can either make a motion or we can table it, however anyone feels on this.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the accounts payable for for November, for this period.
Or this will be October.
Sorry, October, yeah.
No worries. Can we get a second?
I'll second it, Rebecca Wolf.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
If I can actually go around and say the board member's name, that'll be great. Is everyone okay with that? Because I'm not hearing too many ayes. And I just want this thing to be right. So start with myself, Ravonda. I'll say aye. Claire Cousin.
Aye.
Rebecca Wolf, we got the aye from you. Marie Bell, you motioned it. Rebecca
Aye.
Bohr.
Aye.
Robert Davis.
Aye.
Motion passes. Oh, any opposed? I'm sorry, guys. Motion passes now. Thank you. Next up on the agenda, we have Resolution 518, the 2021-2022 operating budget proposal. Due to us having new interim co-directors, obviously they want to look at a lot of things, a lot of paperwork, and break things down before they sign. I know Nick spoke on that earlier. So we are going to be tabling this for next month's meeting. And then for sure, we'll be ready to rip off with it. But obviously, I cannot blame them for this being their first meeting and this only being their second week of work. And then we're trying to get them to sign this budget proposal. So we, if everybody is okay with it, I would like to table Resolution 518.
Rhonda, can I just ask a quick question?
Yes.
Is having an unapproved budget at this time of the year going to potentially affect RAD compliance or anything else?
So I know they told us that the fiscal year was started in June or one of them, and that due to COVID, there was an extension. So we would technically have until the 1st of January.
Okay, gotcha, thank you.
But they would like it to be sooner. But I mean, we have the reasoning, the good reason of why not, and we're not trying to do it much later, which I'm ready to do now, you know, but obviously I can't force y'all to put your signatures on it. So, I mean, I know that they would understand that. And I have no problem with explaining again of why.
So do you need a motion to table?
Marie, do we need a motion to table?
I mean, we don't, but we could, if you wanted to just cover bases for compliance reasons, yeah.
I make a motion to table the operating budget, Resolution 518,
Until December meeting?
until December meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Rebecca Wolf, did we get your, I don't know if I heard you or not, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was muted. I said aye.
Okay. Motion passes to table Resolution 518. We are now on to the next section, which is report from the resident commissioner, Robert Davis. You might be
Yeah, I'm
muted,
here.
Robert.
Right. No, I just unmuted it. I'm at work, so. Everything is still, it's quiet around the building. But my concern is, and I want to know where we stand with trying to get some kind of security going on, because we always putting it back. Here's another year. So where do we stand with trying to get some kind of security or some kind of safety monitor, whatever you guys want to classify it as.
I can speak on that if anybody else had something to say. So Robert, I know that I did meet with Aisha and with Nick on this, and they both have listened to the past meetings, and they know all of our stories that we've given on how we used to have resource officers and security guards. We are trying to figure out what is best for tenants. Aisha came up with a really good idea of maybe sending a survey out to see what the tenants would like. She doesn't want to just pop up and then there's the security guard and then people hate her. So she would like to hear from the tenants first. So she came up with a survey that she would like to put together and send to all the tenants and get their input on what they would like to see as a resource officer, a security guard, or whatever, so what. So that is on our agenda for her and I to do together, because I did offer myself to help her with that. So we haven't forgotten. And I've always been right there with wanting a security guard. I always had one from when I lived there. We always had one. I'm not even sure when it went away, but we are not just forgetting about that or brushing it off. We would like it to be done, but we would like for it to be done in a proper way. And we would like for the tenants to let us know on how they would like this to be done.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong. Did you guys put a survey out before and ask tenants what they want? And the response was they didn't want security. Wasn't that the last time you and Claire, if I'm not mistaken, you guys had some kind of little get together with some tenants or whatever the case may be, how you want to word it, and you guys came back to
That
the
was for development.
No, that wasn't for security. And I do remember Tim said in the past, but that was before myself, Claire, was on the board, that they tried to survey. I don't know what they've done in the past. I only know what can be done now. And the survey we did was about development. And we will be doing a survey to send out to tenants to see what their responses are.
Listen to me right here. I'm going to have to say this the way I say it. I've been on this board 3 years. And it was going up. It was going to the better. Right now, everything is, we'll try to figure it out. That's not working for me. I know it's not about me. It's about the tenants, and it's not working. Because we today you said we're trying to work it out. We'll figure something out. Come January, we'll be still sitting here saying the same. When January comes, it will be the same response.
But we've been going.
We've been doing this.
Leadership, and that's been the holdup. We can't bring new people on.
Okay, we got leadership now. So what?
And
we got leadership now.
Robert,
that should be almost on the top.
Robert, you're still collecting $200, which I believe.
No, I am not. No, I am not. You stopped that. I didn't get my check when I worked in August. I was supposed to receive a check for August, which you told Marie not to sign.
Was that the security? Was that the security check? Was it a security check?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
So since you said
and because
August,
you stopped it for whatever your reasons were.
Since August, you haven't been a security guard?
I have not received a check since we are in November. My last check was August.
You were the security guard, though. Was that what you were?
The last check I was, it was titled, let me make sure you understand, Health and Safety Coordinator. That's what it was titled, not security guard.
Security guard?
Can I jump in for a second real quick?
The bottom line is you guys are not going to be happy until somebody sue us for getting hurt in that building because we don't have some type of proper safety going on in that building. I've witnessed 2 situations within the last month. It's getting cold. People are sleeping in the stairway. People are sleeping in the laundry room. People are sleeping in the hallway. something is going to happen within that building sooner or later, and we're going to be in trouble some kind of way. And I'm not being mean, nasty, but I live there. None of you guys live there. None of you guys have to go through the stuff that these tenants that we so-called care about go through.
This is the
People come
first
to
time
me, whether
I've
you
ever
believe,
heard that
whether
people were
you
sleeping
whether
in the
you believe
hallways
it or
of the
not.
laundry room.
Listen,
I've
I
never
have
heard you
pictures
report
of
on
people
this.
sleeping in the hallway. I have pictures in my phone of people sleeping on the counter in the laundry room at 5:30 in the morning when I'm going to work.
And what
I
are you
got
doing to
pictures of
take
people sleeping in
action?
the.
Are you getting them help? Are you getting them
I
assistance? Because you are a
I
board
woke
member
them
as
up.
well. You're a board member
Listen, let
as
me
well.
explain
So
something
are
to you.
you contacting the office and
I'm
letting
a
them
tenant.
know that this is
I'm-
happening? Because this is the first time as a chair that I
Okay,
even
hold
knew,
on.
because I feel we are in a
Okay.
housing crisis. And it is terrible that people, what I would have did was I would have contacted adult services so they can be put somewhere. They obviously have nowhere to
Okay.
go. And I wish you would have reported on this a long time ago. Because once again, you are a
Okay.
board member. What you should have did was try to find assistance, went to the office, went to help. Listen, we have people sleeping on the, this is devastating. This is devastating that
now,
I'm hearing this.
I
need you
I
to be
will
a
respond
board
to that.
member. I need you
I
to
will
be a
respond to that
board
when we finish
member
the chat.
and be an advocate. If you are going to be here, be an advocate. Call someone. Get them some help.
Okay.
I want to see
like I
action.
said.
I don't want to hear complaints from you no more, Robert. I want to hear what you did.
I don't care. I don't
when
care what
saw
you want to hear from
somebody
me.
sleeping in
Listen,
the
I'm a
hallway.
tenant. I'm a
Did you
tenant there first
contact
before
somebody
anything.
for
So
help?
as a tenant, I'm telling
Be
you what's
a
going on as a
board
tenant
member
before a board member.
and collect when you
Before a
issue
board
security
member,
check,
I'm telling you
do
as
what
a
you're
tenant.
supposed to do.
As a tenant,
I
I'm
want to
telling
hear
you that.
a resolution.
I'm not a board member right
that
now.
you came up
I'm
with.
not a board member right
I
now.
want
I'm
to
a
hear what
tenant,
you
and
did
I'm
for
giving
somebody
you
that was
I'm giving
sleeping
you a
in the laundry
complaint.
room on your way to work. Did you go get them hot
Listen,
coffee?
at five
Did you
at
go to
5 o'clock in the morning,
did you offer them a
I'm
blanket?
going to my job. I'm going to my job.
Be
That's
a
where I'm going
board
at 5 in the morning.
member.
Don't give me
Be
that.
a
I'm getting tired of
advocate.
y'all, man.
Have a
I'm
heart.
getting to wits end, bro.
Have a heart. We are in a housing crisis.
Listen,
Why do you think
Listen
I
to me.
am here to end it? Have a heart.
I have a heart. But my point is, when people come to me complaining about issues and I bring it to you guys, it's always,
No,
we'll see
you
what we
never
can do.
brought
We'll see
this.
what we can do. We'll see what we
Robert,
can
do
do.
you have another issue to report on? Because there's a couple board members that seem to have a question for you. So could you finish your report so that the board can finish asking you, your peers could finish asking you?
I'm finished. Because this thing is getting personal right now. I see what Miss Ravon does. And I'm getting really fed up with this thing, but let's continue on with this.
I think Rebecca Wolf had a question, but she left. Yeah, I think we lost her. I do want to say, like, as far as this specific issue with the resource officer, this is something that we have been talking about for a long time. And Robert, you've been right here on the board with us, knowing that we didn't have an executive director, right? And we don't have counsel. So, like, these are the steps that we need to take care of and that we have been taking care of in order to get us to the next step where we're getting someone in the building. So, you know, you're a board member here with us, and this is, like, we all know this is a really important issue, and I mean, we all want to make movement on this. So I just had to say it, you know, by December, right, we're hoping we'll have council, right? That's our next step, and then from there we're going to figure out this process, right? But this is, like, a very important thing. And Claire, yes.
I was just gonna say it'd be nice to maybe if in the office folks could have some sort of way of dropping off like accomplishments that they want announced at the board meetings, or like if staff members want to report on some positive things that have been happening since the last board meeting, that would be great to come up during resident commissioner reports also, because there's so many things that are going on in that building, not just negative. give kids incentives to bring their report cards down to the office and show what they've been up to. There's all types of stuff that we could talk about to uplift the folks that live there also.
I'm gonna just make a quick call to Rebecca Wolf to see if she's having trouble getting on or just to figure out what went on.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Well, I'm calling in. My name is William Fisher. I don't know, some of you may be familiar with me, but I am the Fair Housing Officer for Columbia County. And I have been in touch numerous times with one of your tenants. He has called me and I've returned his calls. And it's with regard to your smoking policy, non-smoking policy, and the fact that it is not being enforced. This individual feels that his health is being affected. He is already disabled and on disability, and is very sensitive to the secondhand smoke and feels that his health is being jeopardized. And I know that back in September 20th, there was a letter that went out over his signature regarding the smoking situation. I know that a couple of weeks later, not having heard anything, he submitted this letter, a second copy of the letter, and still had not heard anything. I know the on-site manager there, Trish, in speaking with her several times, it seems like there was some difficulty at the times we were speaking because there was no one in charge. The letter that went out was addressed to the Board of Commissioners of the Hudson Housing Authority, and we all know, or at least PHA knows, that HUD has a strict smoke-free policy regarding public housing, and I know that the Housing Authority, or your authority, does have a good smoking policy, but it's not being enforced. And I feel that it's very important that the policy be reviewed and be or enforced as it is written. So just I'll wait for your response on that if you have something to say at this point. And but it's very important. I feel that the non-smoking policy is not being enforced, and that would be a violation of HUD's rules that went into effect in November of 2016. So I know that one of the problems was that there were no directors on board after Tim Mattice left, and no one seemed to be in authority to enforce that policy, which involves warnings, fines, and ultimately evictions. So now that there are directors on board, the policy should be reviewed carefully and prompt enforcement be initiated. Hello?
Thank you. Thank you so much
Hello?
for that. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. Now, if you would, you could Well, my telephone number here, and I know Trish has it. She's been very helpful in the past. It's just that without any directors there, it was tough to do anything. And we all know that the COVID has made things difficult too. But you know, even with the COVID, there can be one can go as far as the evictions if it is some kind of disturbance or nuisance or health hazard to other tenants. So, you know, you should be looking at that carefully as well. I know that Trish has a copy of this letter down there. It was dated September the 20th. If you would like to review it, which, and you should as part of maybe you're looking into the matter.
I really appreciate you reaching out on other people's behalf. That means so much. And we do have one of our co-directors on at this time. He is able to get your information from Trish just to follow up with you on what's going on with the situation. Once again, I really truly appreciate you coming here, taking the time out on other people's behalf.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And I get a lot of satisfaction out of helping anyone I can in this regard, these kind of matters. So, all right. Well, thank you very much. And you can get whatever information you need from Trish. And she has my phone number, and I can be reached at my residence. I'm working out of my home, and also any correspondence I do report to the Columbia County Board of Supervisors. So any correspondence can be directed to my attention at 401 State Street.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful.
Okay. Well, thank you. You as well, and hope to hear from you soon.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Have a good evening.
You too.
All right. I'll sign off now. Thank you.
Are we in public comment right now? Is that?
No, we're not. He was just saying like, hello, hello, hello. And then I was like, hello. Yes. Okay. I read your lips. I think I didn't hear you, but I think you had the right person.
Bill Fisher. He's the county fair housing officer.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
So
well,
what do anybody think about what he said?
I love everything that he said. I especially love that he took the time out, and you know, I'm glad that we have Nick on and he can write this down, and hopefully we can get back to him with some good results.
Yeah, I know Mr. Fisher, and this incident was brought to my attention today. I still haven't seen the letter or any of the paperwork on it, but I did review this incident with a staff member today, so this is definitely something that we'll be looking into and trying to get to the bottom of.
Yes, thank you so much. We do have. Oh, I'm sorry. Is someone saying something?
If I would have brought that up, you would have called me a liar.
Robert.
No, you just don't understand how
the fair housing officer has to have documentation of this correspondence. So, you know, he sent the emails with the person's name attached, which he obviously can't say in the middle of our meeting. So our executive director.
Right, I got the email. I know exactly because the person lives on my floor and he came and told me about it.
Okay, so the executive director now is going to respond through the proper channels now that we have the proper channels, and hopefully something can get taken care of. It's a positive that he came on here and said what he said.
But my point is, if I would have stated that, I would have been called everything under the sun.
We understand, but we're in a board meeting and we're trying to be as productive as possible.
Yeah, you said the right word. You're trying. I got you. Let's continue with this.
You're also a board member.
I know you were interrupted during your report. Did you have anything else that you would like to report, Robert?
Not a thing. Let's please continue. I gotta finish working.
We do have a guest here tonight. We do have Dan Kent here with Galvin. He did want to talk to us about their new pilot. They are currently working, Dan, I might be saying it wrong, with the HCR agreement. And they were able to speak with some state people there, and one of them being Darren Scott. And he's going to speak tonight on how they would like to work with us, maybe helping us by getting some people off of our waiting list and so on and so forth. But I'm going to let Dan take the floor.
Yeah, so I see a lot of familiar faces on this Zoom, but I can just give a quick background on the project and what we're trying to achieve, and then talk about this linkage agreement that HCR is encouraging. So we received approvals for a 75-unit building at the corner of State and North 7th Streets. 75 North 7th is the address. And the project includes 53 units of low to moderate income housing that will be funded, if we are successful in our application, with low income housing tax credits. So the state sets certain priorities for projects that they award these tax credits to. And one of the state's priorities, one of their preferences, is to see a relationship between the local housing authority and the project to help make sure that every person who is on the waiting list for that housing authority knows about the opportunity to apply for this new housing that we're developing and has all the information that they need to submit that application. So I sent a copy to Ravonda, and I don't know if it's been circulated to the other board members. It's a very simple one-page agreement. I did not draft this. This is something that's totally just a template from the state that Darren Scott pointed me to. And I mean, I can just kind of quickly run through the responsibilities since it's so brief. It's as the owner of the building, what we would be agreeing to is that at least 2 months before we open the application period for the project, so basically the time frame when people can start submitting applications, 2 months before that, we would send notification to Hudson Housing Authority, and we would provide you with the marketing materials, all the application procedures, et cetera. Also, 2 months before we open the application, we would post the available units on whatever kinds of websites that you all use to market the availability of public housing in Hudson. So that's what we would be committing to. What would be asked of the housing authority is that at least 60 days before the application due date, you would provide a notification to everyone on your current waiting list to tell them about the opportunity. So they detail a few different ways you can notify people. It doesn't have to be all of them. You can notify them in writing. You can post the availabilities on your website, use social media, newsletters, even postings in the offices at Bliss Tower or anywhere else. Just again, to let people know, look, there's these new units that are online. Here are the income guidelines. If you meet them, you should apply. So in addition to that, you would also be asked to just provide us the list of the different websites that you use for posting housing availabilities. One of the ones in this template is gosection8.com. I don't know if that's something that you all use, but the implication of this draft agreement is that there may be several different websites that you use. So we would just need you to provide a list of them so we can incorporate it into this agreement. And so that, 2 months before the application period opens, we can, provide the information from those postings. Then the next two pieces are basically just that you would have to provide the marketing materials about these units to everyone. I think the state must have encountered situations where people who didn't meet certain background check requirements or something else didn't end up getting the information from the housing authority. So the state just wants to make sure that the housing authority provides it to every single person on the waiting list, regardless of, you know, whether they meet certain preferences or not. And then the final thing is just provide your administration plan and tenant selection policies and demographic data if requested by HCR. I'm sure you're all familiar with what that is. That's a new terminology for me, but just another item where if they want to get information from the housing authority about your intake policies, I guess, they would just want that information available. So that's it. It's pretty simple agreements. You know, it's just us agreeing that we'll give you that information nice and early so that you can notify folks on your waiting list, and you agreeing to share that information to everyone on the list. Maria, I think I saw you were raising your hand. Is there a question I can try to answer?
Yeah. Yeah, I take it that this agreement is actually not necessary until you actually have a property or you're about to open the property. When do you normally sort of request that this document be submitted, since, you know, doing it now doesn't necessarily, there's no building. So I'm just curious, what's the general timeline for expectation here?
Great question. So we are asked by the state to submit this linkage agreement with our application for funding for the project. They even give a certain preference to projects that enter into this linkage agreement. I think in part because, you know, they want to see public housing authorities providing these types of opportunities to people on their waiting lists. So we anticipate the next funding deadline could be sometime in December, it seems now. So our goal would be to have it signed, you know, in the next month or so.
So when HHA begins the same process of looking at a development project, you would be asked to sign a similar agreement?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess, well, no, probably not, because the agreement is between the project owner and the housing authority. So if the housing authority were going to be the owner of the project, then I don't know that HCR would be looking for such an agreement necessarily. But that all being said, you know, we would certainly be interested in signing an agreement like this if we could connect people on our own waiting lists with other housing opportunities. So this is the kind of thing where, you know, if there were any development in the community of low-income housing or affordable housing, you know, we want to make sure that the folks that we serve and counsel know about those opportunities so that they can apply.
So I think what it is, Marie, this project, HCR has said you need to contact the local Hudson Housing Authority and offer them this many units. Am I correct? Is that like how it's going for your agreement? Like they want you to put the authority a certain amount of apartments available for the housing authority waiting list. Is that how it's going?
So I think it's even a step removed from that. It's even more simple than that. And that what they want to see is basically a referral relationship. They want to make sure that the housing authority and everyone on your waiting list is informed about the opportunity to apply for these units. So it's basically, for our part, it's us saying, listen, we're not just going to come in at the last minute and say, oh yeah, by the way, these units are available. No, we're going to commit that 2 months before the opening of the application period, we've provided all of this marketing information, all of this application information, so that you all can start communicating it to people on your waiting list. If people have questions, you know, these applications can be intimidating for people. So they want to make sure that folks on your waiting list have plenty of time to understand the requirements and pull together an application.
I just have a question. So within this, would the relationship be that the housing choice vouchers that the housing authority has would be used in this, or is that not the, I'm trying to figure out, like, is the terms of the relationship that you would be providing housing through the public housing authority through the housing choice voucher system, or is this just the wait list, the people, the looking for housing on the wait list would be forwarded to your project?
So it is strictly the latter. It is just everyone on your waiting list, you would just be committing to provide information to them about these available units so that they know that this opportunity is upon them. And our commitment is that we would provide all of that information to you so that you could share it with the people on your waiting list.
Question,
but that all being said, I mean, we do have units that will be affordable for people with housing choice vouchers as well. So they'll, certainly be welcome to apply. It's just that's not a part of this linkage agreement.
Just out of curiosity, do you know like roughly how many units would be able to be viable for the housing choice voucher? Because at this point we have, a large number of vouchers available, but not so many that are in use just because of the lack of affordable housing under this context.
Yes, 34 of them would have rents below FMR and would be affordable.
Sorry for my ignorance on that. I don't quite know. Does that mean that they would be eligible for the vouchers?
That's what you're saying,
that
right?
means that if they had a voucher, they would be able to afford the rent in this building. So I think one of the dynamics Rebecca was pointing out is that you've got a lot of people with vouchers that can't find an apartment in Hudson that has a rent that they can afford with the voucher.
Does anyone else have any questions for Dan?
I guess I do. I'm just curious whether this is an opportunity to discuss, maybe not right now, but once there actually is a building, like an actual relationship that does go farther than the linkage agreement between, like between the waiting list for HHA and the apartments that will hopefully be becoming available. I just wanted to throw that out there because it does seem, I mean, there's, one of the issues that HHA is going to be facing is relocation of, like, we're going to be having to do relocation of tenants. And then of course there's already a waiting list. And so it does seem like, I don't know, there's the, linkage agreement that's, that is just on paper, but then I feel like there could be some conversations about actual relationship.
Yeah, I completely welcome those conversations, and I'd be happy to kind of talk through what that relationship could look like, and what understanding more of what the housing authority's plans are, and how the units at 75 North 7th or really anywhere else, even future projects we could plan. I would love to explore how Galvin Foundation can help the housing authority meet your goals, whether it's for tenant relocation or anything else. So I'm certainly happy to set up a time to meet with, whether it's Ravonda or Nick or whoever else to talk through how that could look. Because this linkage agreement is, very basic and simple referral connection. But I think, to your point, Rebecca, there's a lot of opportunity for us to collaborate in an even more meaningful, significant way.
Dan, we do have someone in the public, and they're wondering if you're going to stick around for public comment because they do have a couple questions. We do only have one more report if you did want to stick around for public comment. If not, maybe you can leave your info for them to reach out to you.
Yeah, maybe so I don't have to take up everyone's time. I'm happy to just share my my email. I'll put it in the chat box here.
Fantastic.
And they can just email me so that you all can carry on with your nights and not.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
And so just I don't know if this is something you all can advise on now, but given our application goals of trying to get something in December, what does the process look like for the board deciding whether or not to enter into this linkage agreement, and when do you think that decision could be made?
Can I just say, I think just from the board stance, it would be great for us to have legal counsel through this before entering into any such agreement. So, you know, that will hopefully be very soon that we have legal counsel.
Yes.
I'm learning how to raise my hand in these meetings. I always forget that's an option. Yeah, may I say, Dan, we can't, until we have counsel that really, the important thing to remember is that this board doesn't procure things and make decisions like that. We might vote on it, but ultimately it's the executive director, and he wouldn't be able to do this without an attorney. So.
Which is something we're working on.
Okay.
We're working on as we speak. So we'll definitely be reviewing it with council as soon as council comes on and the board. And if you've already sent off the documents, and I'll get them, and we'll reach out to you as we know more.
That sounds good. And also, I'm sure that Darren Scott and the folks at HCR would be perfectly happy to answer any questions about this. I mean, they'll be better at answering questions about it than I am, since it's their agreement and they wrote the thing. So I would also encourage you to reach out to them as needed.
Great, thank you, Dan. Thanks for coming on.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time, everyone, and for all your work. Take care.
Okay, so we'll get right into a report from the interim directors.
Thank you, Rhonda. I mean, as was stated earlier, we're still very green on the job. This week was our first, or last week was our first week, and we've really just been learning the ins and outs, meeting the staff, meeting residents, getting to meet some of the board members a little better, and just kind of getting a feel for the organization and the buildings, getting tours. And it's been definitely action-packed. We've been learning a lot, and we're developing our priority lists and our to-do lists, which are both very long, and so we're going to hopefully start checking off boxes as quickly as possible. I will say, in regards to conversations that have already happened tonight, one thing that is abundantly clear is the question of security officers or police officers or resource officers in the building is a big topic for the residents that we've talked to and the staff. And it's something that we've already heard a lot about, and there's obviously lots of different opinions on that, but it's clearly a huge priority to figure out what is the next steps in terms of thinking about security and really support for the residents of the building, because it's security, and that's obvious just from the things that Robert has brought up and other staff members and members of the public have brought up. But basic services are really needed by our tenants in terms of mental health social services. I mean, there's a lot of needs there, and so we are listening to residents and trying to evaluate that situation as quickly as possible. I think that the budget, which we will hopefully be voting on next month, is something we also have to look at. And again, that's a whole branch of the topic that we need to just establish, is that there even is room in the budget to hire someone new. But regardless, it's definitely something that we need to look at and figure out quickly. Another big thing that we're hearing a lot about very quickly is pest control. And that is something that we're looking into and trying to get a hold of and understand the systems and what's needed. In terms of the bigger picture, RAD conversion, the status of the RAD conversion compliance is a huge issue. We have had one initial meeting with HUD. The conversation that we had with our fee accountant yesterday was very informative in that regard, and also some conversations with prospective attorneys has also been enlightening and thinking about RAD and our status with that and moving forward. And then procuring counsel is the other big issue that we need to take on very quickly. One good update that we can make already is that while we only thought we had one respondent to our RFQ, it turns out we do have two. And so we do have at least a choice in that, and we've spoken with those respondents, and it seems like there's some good options in terms of getting on interim counsel pretty quickly. And so we'll be talking with the board about how we can do that as quickly as possible, because as Marie said, many of these items, even though they're high priorities for us, we really can't touch until we have counsel on board. So that's really one of the first things we have to do. But it's been a great learning experience. It's been really fun to meet tenants, to meet staff members and board members, and start to get a feel for everything. And I think we're both really excited about seeing what we can do to help out. That's all I really had. I'll in the future, I understand that I will be facilitating these meetings as the secretary, which I'm excited to do, and I assume that I'll also be kind of giving more updates and being able to answer more questions as time goes on, as we get a handle for everything. But that's it from my end for tonight.
Ravonda, you're muted. But just to say, thank you so much, Nick, also.
Yeah, thank you, Nick.
And that's what I was saying as well. Thank you so much, Nick. And even thank you more for even saying that the next meetings will be facilitated by the new co-interim directors. As fun as this was, and exciting and thrilling, and I mean, I just couldn't wait for these meetings. This is my last one that I'll be hosting, unless I have to fill in, which you know I can always do.
You've done a great job, Ravonda. Thank you for filling in.
Thanks. Any questions or comments for Nick? Next, we would be rolling into Aisha, but I hope everything is okay with her. I wasn't able to get through. So now we'll just run right into public comment. No public comment? Okay. Well, as I said before, this meeting was going to be truly exciting, and I know it was. Now, if I can get a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all for being here once again. See you all for the December monthly meeting. Have a good
Thank
one.
you. See you
Bye,
later.
good night.
Good night.